right, good afternoon. How's everybody doing today? I appreciate the enthusiasm. Well, I will just say, Cody, I appreciate that introduction. All of those things are true or were true about 5 years ago. So I do need to update the bio on the city's website. So thank you for reminding me about that. I appreciate the opportunity to be here today. I want to first thank the Chamber. I know there's a limited amount of these every year, and so I would say thanks for wasting one on me, but thanks for giving me the opportunity to address you here today. We have a lot of exciting things that have been happening in Blue Springs over the last year, and so I'm going to take some time to tell you about some of those things. I know I could probably speak for many of you. Blue Springs, for me, represents more than just a place to live, right? It's, for my life, it represents a sense of stability that I didn't happen in my early childhood years, and that's a longer story than we have here today. But as Cody said, it's where I've grown up. It's where I had my first job. It's where I met my wife and got married here in Blue Springs. It's where we brought our children home from the hospital too. We had our first apartment in Burr Oak Apartments up on the north side of town. We bought our first house here, and now we try to keep up with these on you guys all the time. That's what we do. This is not just where we live. This is our home. And I think for many of you, that's true as well. I also want to say today, going to be a little different, but this is not a spectator sport. I expect you guys to engage today, right? If I wanted to just stand in front of a camera and talk to myself, I could have done that. So I want you guys to engage today. Let's practice here. Everybody give me an ooh. Everybody give me an ah. All right, now do your best like sorority woo girl, like woo. All right, okay. Now I want you to react how you would when you hear this. Touchdown, Kansas City. Come on. I know you're yelling at your TV louder than that. If somebody's just feeling the spirit, give me an amen. Like, I want you to engage today. There you go. Father Mike in the front. I like it. So I appreciate what we have to do today. I appreciate you guys being here. The benefit of the State of the City address, right, is that I get to tell you what the heck have you guys been doing for the last year. But for me, what's going to be a little different today is I often get asked, what makes Blue Springs special? What is the most unique thing about Blue Springs? And my answer has always been that it's the people of Blue Springs that make Blue Springs so great, that makes Blue Springs strong. And that is, if there's any applause line today, this is what I want you to be prepared for, right? Think of the Chiefs. The message I want to make clear today is the state of the city is strong. There you go. I want it. So what I want to do is spend a little time at the front here and introduce a lot of people that help make Blue Springs great. All of the elected officials are here today, with a couple exceptions. A couple that snuck in are those that represent you in some way, that represent Blue Springs in some way. We have boards and commissioners here today from all of the city boards and commissions, the chairs of those groups that help make Blue Springs great through their volunteer work. So before I get to that, let me recognize the city council that helps me do a great job around here in Blue Springs. They work tirelessly, not only on behalf of you as the residents, but help do things that you don't even aware of, doing planning and meeting that are making everything great. So from District 1, first off, Council Member Jerry Kaler. Give Jerry a round of applause. Now let me tell you about Jerry. Jerry's the type of person, if you don't know, that knows no stranger, right? And if you're not his best friend yet, it's just because he hasn't met you yet. And that really serves him well as a council member, because he spends his days and most of his time just finding ways to make Blue Springs better, talking to residents, learning from them what's going on, learning from them the problems that they're having. And he'll talk to somebody standing in line at the grocery store or sledding at Keystone Park. And that serves him well because he knows everybody, he also knows everything before the rest of us do, often telling us what's going to happen long before it's announced. Is that true, Jerry? That's right. So Jerry is a great addition to the team. Everybody, thank you for Jerry for being here for his continued service. Also from District 1, we have Councilmember Galen Erickson. Galen, stand up, give him a round of applause. So consistent with the theme for District 1, Councilmember Erickson, probably the most well-researched of the council. He uses ChatGPT more than I do. And knows how to use it well, and actually he's been known to use it during meetings a couple of times. Probably used it while we've been sitting at lunch already to help him know what's going on. Because of that, he always has good advice to offer when we're having discussions of the council, always good input for our discussions, and I want to thank you again for your service, Galen. So I think Councilmember Kaler has called District 1 the head of the city. And so if District 1's the head, that means District 2 is the heart, and that's largely because of this guy. Councilmember Kent Edmondson, stand up and wave at him, Kent. So I've been fortunate. I got to be a council member in District 2 with Kent, and not only do we have a lot of like-minded ideas, but he's also the kind of guy that will literally, if I asked him right now, would give you the shirt off his back, and he'd walk out of here in his jacket if he wanted to. And because of that, he's had a long list of service. Not only was a council member for the last 17 years, he was also chairman of this board. He's also president of Rotary. He was on the school board at one time even. And so I think secretly, he probably doesn't want me to share this, he probably has his name on more buildings than anyone else in the city because he's had so much service to the city. So thank you, Kent, for your service to the city. Also from District 2 is one of our newer council member Katie Tholen. Stand up and wave at him, Katie. Katie has only been on the job for right about 7 months, 6 or 7 months, and I would say she's brought kind of that next level of professionalism to the city council. For a real job, she works as a loan officer at Equity Bank and has some experience as a bank manager. Also got 2 boys, one in middle school, one in high school, so she's been, leaders in the scouts and leaders on their football teams and really has done a lot for the community. And as a council member, she's really jumped in feet first and has been very responsive to her constituents, has really helped be a good council member in District 2. And so I'm really looking forward to her continued service with the city as well. So if District 1 and District 2 are there, I think Councilmember Culpepper would say District 3 is where stuff gets done, right? Everyone recognize Mayor Pro Tem and District 3 Councilmember Susan Culpepper. Just like many of the council members, Susan is everywhere. She's at every event she can be at, every city event, ribbon cuttings, anywhere where she can be to represent her constituents. She's there. I know she, I think, is the only council member that attends the fire district meetings regularly. Girls on Fire is a passion of hers throughout the summer. She's there fishing. She's there making sure the girls of our community are getting well served. And so we appreciate all of her hard work and thank you for your contribution. And finally, last but certainly not least, our newest council member, help me recognize District 3 Council Member Nick Brummel. Stand up and wave at him, Nick. So Nick has been on the job less than a month. Literally have been to 1.5 city council meetings, I think it is. So Nick, before we dragged him onto the city council, was heavily involved in Park Commission, also was on the Charter Review Commission, has got a kid in elementary school and involved in the community as well. If you ask around about Nick, as I did before I appointed him, you'll hear things like he's a person of character, he's fair, he's very thoughtful, gives due consideration to everything. And for those of you here in the room, you'll be glad to know he is a business owner in the community. I don't want to age you, Nick, but I think it's almost 20 years, right? Been running Brummel Lawn and Landscape right here in Blue Springs. In the peak times, he has nearly 80 employees in this community that his company is employing. So big contribution to the city, big contribution to our economy. I'm looking forward to his contribution on council as well. Help me recognize the whole city council again. If they stood up too quickly or you didn't get a good look at them, we got a short video here to show you how cool they really are. I'm going to give them a round of applause. So I want you to know nothing happens in this city without the city council, the mayor, all of us working together to make things happen here in Blue Springs. And so I appreciate their contribution, city. I also could not do anything that I do without the support of my family. And so I want you to help me recognize my wife, Grace Levisay. Stand up and wave at them. Let them get a good look at you. So this October here in 2025, we have been married for 20 years. And actually, this month in February is when we started dating. We've been together for 23 years. So she's been putting up with me for a really long time. So she deserves, she puts up with some of you guys too, actually. So yeah, a lot of that going on. And we can thank Dr. Jerome for this, but today I would not have taken them out of school, I promise. And actually, they'd rather have perfect attendance than be here with me today, I can promise you. But my children are here with me today. Benjamin and Emily, stand up and wave at them. Yeah. They're as ornery as they are beautiful, so we keep up with them all the time. They're involved in basketball right now, lots of activity. We now have one at 2 different schools, so we're dividing and conquering a lot now. So we spend a lot of time with them and glad that they're here today. Also, other elected officials from the county, no stranger to Blue Springs, is County Legislature Jeannie Lauer. Jeannie, wave at them. Let them know you're here today. So when I was first elected in 2010, Jeannie was still just a lowly council member for District 1, right? And then that year went on to be state representative, and now has been, 7 years on the county legislature. So again, years of service to Blue Springs, and so appreciate you being here today. Also from the county, this is one that snuck in on us. County Legislator Sean Smith. Where are you, Sean? There he is. Sean represents District 6. It's mostly Lee Summit, but even though he doesn't represent Blue Springs, I know he's been very helpful to a lot of Blue Springs residents, especially dealing with the county assessment stuff, so appreciate you being here. And a former county legislator from Blue Springs, but then she moved on and lives in Raytown now, an alderman from Raytown. Miss Teresa Garza. Where are you, Teresa? There she is, over at that table. Thank you for being here, Teresa. Teresa also works in public affairs, government affairs professionally, so we see her a lot. Thank you for being here. In addition to the county and the city people, a lot of things that are important, a lot of things we've been doing this year is trying to build stronger relationships with just our partners in the community, right? Christine and I have been meeting with lots of different groups, with the fire districts, with the school districts, just to try to make sure that we have good relationships with all of those groups so that that benefits the residents of Blue Springs. And so everyone knows that one of our biggest draws to the city of Blue Springs is our schools. And so I want to recognize first Dr. Bob Jerome from the Blue Springs School District. Stand up and wave at him, Bob. So Dr. Jerome, we're fortunate to have a pretty good working relationship. We see each other at events a lot, and we've met several times over the course of last year, tried to just find out ways that we can better together serve the community, serve the broader Blue Springs School District and City of Blue Springs. Right now, in fact, if it'll ever stop snowing, there are two student groups that are doing projects for the City of Blue Springs that they selected to help just the Career and Innovation Center to help connect some of those client-driven projects. And so it not only helps them have something to work on, but also gives them a sense of community, that they're part of the Blue Springs community as well, not just isolated with the school district. And so at some point, we'll have those meetings whenever we can get back to school. The school district also has 2 National Blue Ribbon schools this year again. And we've actually been fortunate, the city council and I have invited some students to city council meetings to recognize their achievements. So in May, we had the Blue Springs Wildcat baseball team. They won the Class 6 state championship. And so they came to city council meeting. We were able to call, Blue Springs Wildcat Baseball Day in the city. And so that was pretty cool to have them there. And then I think in the fall, in September, we had the Blue Springs South cheer team. They again took state champions in Class 6 division. I think that was their 4th state title in the cheer history. And then their JV team for 3 years in a row had taken gold at their conference. So had them come to a city council meeting, got to recognize them. So it's been pretty cool to work with the school district, find ways to recognize achievements of students in our community, find ways to work together to help make sure the schools are better. And as much as Dr. Jerome maybe feels like it sometimes, he doesn't do it all alone. He has a little bit of help from the Blue Springs School Board. So I want to recognize some of them here today. We have first, no stranger to the Blue Springs Chamber of Commerce, Board President Rebecca Swank. Everybody give Rebecca a round of applause. And then we also have board members Kay Cohen, April Agate, and Nikki Emerson. So obviously, Grace and I still have kids in the district, so we are very involved in what's going on. We attend school board meetings at times, and so I get a chance to see them in action. And I've told Dr. Jerome, their meetings are really fun. And so if you haven't been to one before, they recognize a student of the month, they recognize a highlighted program of the month, and there's people crying in the audience, talking about the stories of the kids. And so I've told him I'm going to steal some of his ideas because they're a really good time. I could not be more confident. I appreciate the relationship I have with every member of the school board, but as a father, as a parent in the district, I am very confident to send my kids to school every day, knowing that Dr. Jerome and the school board are the ones making the decision. So appreciate all the relationship we have with you guys. But Blue Springs is fortunate to have students that attend not one, but 3 award-winning school districts. That's part of what I think we sometimes forget about, is just how diverse the experience for residents are in the city limits of Blue Springs. So also here with me today is Grain Valley Superintendent, Dr. Brad Welly. Everybody stand and give Dr. Welly a round of applause. So Dr. Welly and I serve on a board together at the Eastern Jackson County Youth Corps board, so I get to run into him every once in a while. We also have met and started to build that relationship, want to be good partners with the Grain Valley School District. There are hundreds of kids that live in the Four Pillars neighborhood, Summerfield, Adams Point Village, out north and east, that attend Grain Valley schools that are in the city limits of Blue Springs. And so it's just as important to have a good relationship with Grain Valley School District. He's been very helpful, had a lot of good conversation about how we can work together to help with make sure our community's better. We have 3 new housing developments being developed in the city limits of Blue Springs that are in Grain Valley schools. And so lots of growth in that district as well. In addition to Blue Springs and Grain Valley, we also have hundreds of kids that attend the Lee Summit schools. And so I don't think Dr. Buck was able to attend here today, but we've been able to meet several times as well. Everything in the Chapman Farms development, all of those neighborhoods, everything south of Wire Road is in the Lee Summit School District. And so there are kids, and there's more development happening down there now. And so we again met. He was very helpful as well. Had a lot of good ideas about what they do for development with the cities in their district. A lot of good ideas of planning for future growth, because a lot of the city growth is gonna be to the south and east, largely in the Lee Summit School District and Grain Valley School District. So very helpful to have that relationship with them. And in addition to our school district partners, we also have good relationships with our fire districts. Last spring, with the partnership with Central Jackson County Fire Protection District, we launched the Everbridge Emergency Alert System. So that's the text that you get and phone calls you get when severe weather comes through. And actually, based on feedback from the residents, something we've been starting to do as well is use that system to notify residents when there's a water main out or when there's road closings and constructions planning. So I've been trying to use that as well, and that's thanks to Central Jackson County. So Chief Lair had a very important meeting to do in St. Louis this year, but we have 2 assistant chiefs with us today, and from the chairman of the board of directors, again, no stranger right here, I'm just gonna call you Chief Steve Westerman. Chief, stand up and wave at him so we can recognize you here today. So we appreciate all that they do in the community, always attend community events as well. In addition to the school districts, just like that with the fire districts, on the south part of town, we have the Southern Jackson County Fire Protection District. So again, Chief Large couldn't be here today, but we've met and started building that relationship. Again, lots of growth is going to happen on the south part of town. And so we're gonna need to work together to make sure the health and safety of the residents of the south part of Blue Springs is very important. So I want you to think about the kind of difference of resident experience depending on what part of Blue Springs you live. If you live in, let's say, Chapman Farms, you vote for the mayor of Blue Springs, you vote for council members in Blue Springs, but you have a different school district, your kids go to different schools, you have a different fire district, different people are showing up when you dial 911, you even have a different water district, your water bill goes somewhere else. And so depending on where you live in Blue Springs, that's why it's so important to have broad engagement from residents. It's so difficult, I guess, for us as elected officials to make decisions because we have considerations across the spectrum. 3 different school districts, 2 different fire districts, lots going on and lots of growth that's happening in Blue Springs. And so I appreciate the partnership we have with our stakeholders. I know that was a lot, but I thought it was important to just show you the community that's happening in Blue Springs. With other partnerships we've been trying to grow and strengthen, we found out we were one of the few cities not regularly meeting with the Missouri Department of Transportation. And so we started that this year. Staff meets with them on a regular basis. We've had council members and myself trying to get involved more in the Mid-America Regional Council because they control a lot of the resources that happens in the region. And so it's very important for us to build those relationships to make them stronger. It's not just elected officials that are ones getting stuff done around here. We also invited here today our chairs of our boards and commissions here in Blue Springs. So I'm going to quickly introduce several of them. We have from our Park Commission chair, Mr. Tony Lopez. Tony, where are you? There he is. You can stand up and wave, Tony. Give a round of applause. Our Planning Commission chair, Mr. Chris Henning. Where are you, Chris? There he is. Thank you, Chris. Our Economic Development Council chair, Becky Nance. Our Public Safety Advisory Board chair, Carmen Booker. Our Community Development Block Grant chair, Ken Harrell. Where are you, Ken? There he is. And our Solid Waste Commission chair, David Mann. So these residents and the boards that they represent are really doing the work, are volunteering their time to help shape the future of Blue Springs, to help shape the policies that we talk about, to help make decisions and advise the council on where the direction we think we should go. So if you're interested in serving on a board commission, you'll see on the screen there's a QR code you can scan. If you're not a QR code person, you can go to the city's website and look at the boards and commission application. It's really helpful to have residents engaged to take some of the work off of us to make sure we know what it is you want and what it is that you expect from your elected officials, what it is you expect from the future of the city. So really appreciate them being involved. I thought it was important to invite them here today. You guys in this room, you guys that are serving on those boards, you are the leaders of this community. And that's why I really wanted to make sure you were here and know that your role is valued. So thank you for being here. So I know that was a lot, but we've got a lot of other things that are exciting going on here in Blue Springs. The first thing I know is always very important is our street and sidewalk maintenance. For as long as we've done citizen surveys, the number one priority on every survey is street maintenance, traffic congestion, infrastructure improvements. And so last year, the city council and you as the residents stepped up in a big way, and we passed a $40 million bond project that its only objective is street maintenance and infrastructure projects. So we have already started the one priority we told you as residents we would focus on. It's the street maintenance part of that. So we're gonna spend $10 million just in street maintenance this year from that bond. That will, our last projections, give us about 52 miles of street maintenance. We have about 260 lane miles in the Blue Springs system, give or take. I'm sure it's a little bit more than that. So that means just this calendar year, there will be 1/5 of the entire system will get addressed with some street maintenance dollars. And that'll be a big deal. Again, as we said during the bond issue, it won't catch us up, won't get us where we need to be, but it'll be a big boost. And then we still have $5 million in the bond project to do in future years. That's on top of the money we do every year, the millions of dollars we put in street maintenance anyway. So the council is also committed to starting a process to keep us on track so we don't get in the same position we've been in the past. That's something we're working on this year. We'll start here in the next couple of months. And so it's a really big accomplishment to have this much focus on street maintenance, on infrastructure projects right from the top. Again, we've got a video to show you what those bond projects covered.
Last year, the city introduced a proposal to residents for a large undertaking to improve our city streets. The streets were a top priority according to polls from our citizens. In response, the city created a list of projects to benefit the road system. To fund this, a road improvement bond was put on the ballot, And in August, voters in Blue Springs went to the polls to approve implementation of the plan. The 8 projects selected for this plan are the Neighborhood Street Preservation Program, improvements to Mock from 7 Highway to Sunnyside, improvements to Adams Dairy Parkway at Duncan Road, Downtown Master Plan capital improvements, widening and improving Walnut Street from Woods Chapel Road to 15th Street, Adams Dairy Parkway streetlight improvements, constructing Southwest 12th Street from Southwest Southcrest Drive to Wyatt Road, and improving the intersection at Woods Chapel Road and US 40 Highway. Work will get underway soon on the Neighborhood Street Preservation Program, with other projects starting shortly thereafter. Thank you to the citizens of Blue Springs for making our city a better place to work, live, and play.
There you go. Your inner sorority girl, I like it. So there's a lot of other projects besides just the bond issue that Public Works is focused on. We, in the last couple of years, the City Council have approved improving Wyatt Road on the south part of town, all the way from the Southern Jackson County Fire District Station 3, all the way out to Adams Dairy Parkway. And so this year, Wyatt Road West is scheduled to begin just next month in March, and it should be complete by the end of the year, about 5 months. That will improve that whole section there. That will also connect us to the 12th Street project that's in the bond issue that will help with the development of Southwest Park, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. Still acquiring right-of-way for Wyatt East, but the plans for that will hopefully be developed this year, start to make progress on that next year as well. So that will mean that whole corridor, as development happens, it's a big road improvement for that area because a lot of growth is happening there. Also help with response time for Southern Jackson County as well, so it'll be a lot of good stuff. If you haven't heard, if you watch city council meetings, we're also going to have to address some capacity at the Snyder Bar wastewater treatment facility. There are some new federal regulations that we have 6 years to comply with. And so in August, you'll probably see something on the ballot that will give the city authorization to use some low interest rate funding mechanisms. We'll have a rate study that'll be completed this year, and that will determine what capacity we need for the wastewater facility. That's something that we do with Grain Valley, but something that you'll see in the coming few months as well. And I can't say for the first time ever, but at least as far as I can remember, last year, the city council approved $250,000 for new sidewalks, for sidewalk infill. No more sidewalks to nowhere, right, Councilman Erickson? So that's, I don't know if that's the first time we've ever done that, for at least for a long time. We've talked about sidewalk maintenance, but these were brand new sidewalks that was about a mile of brand new sidewalk. And I know this will sound like a lot, but that represented 20 projects across the city where it connected gaps in our system, or maybe there was severe damage in the system that repaired and filled gaps where there were sidewalks to nowhere and now connect with each other. On top of that, if you remember a couple years ago, we had a grant that added sidewalks on 7 Highway from Pink Hill down to I-70 to Shaw Parkway. Well, next year, or this year, the construction will begin for sidewalks from Shaw Parkway down to 40 Highway. So you'll be able to walk with brand new sidewalks from Pink Hill Road all the way to 40 Highway. That in addition to the new sidewalks that we put in last year, and there's plans to do that sidewalk infill program again this year. Blue Springs will be more walkable than it's ever been. And I think that's a pretty big accomplishment, something we've heard from residents for a long time as well. There's also, Public Works is also getting some building upgrades. I didn't think to check when that building was built, but it's been several decades. And so the Public Works building is getting a facelift as well. Those renovations will start at the end of this year and or maybe early next year, but we're working on the designs for that now. Finally, I want to take a minute here to recognize our Public Works department because they have been through the ringer in the last few weeks. I don't know what the exact number is. I'm sure it's somewhere close to 2 feet in the last 6 weeks that they've had to move off city streets. They have been doing an awesome job. It's a thankless job, sometimes a dangerous job, as we saw this year for a county employee. And I just want to say they do it better than anyone else. They're better than any other in the metro. You come to Blue Springs, it's done really well. We have a couple of them here today. I don't want to embarrass them. You want to wave? Nate, you know, it's all right. We've got some staff here today, and I know that they appreciate your thanks as well. So appreciate them and all their hard work. For the police department, there's also been a year of change and a lot of exciting things happening. Of course, the big change was In October, we officially took over the animal control services. So we hired 5 new animal control officers. And because we wanted to be responsive from the feedback we received from the residents, not only are they doing a great job with this animal control services, they also have started adoption services here in Blue Springs. So in the last 4 months, they've already adopted 70 animals, dogs and cats. Yep, doing great. Give them a round of applause for that. I think I saw in one of the reports there was a rabbit adopted, maybe too. They're doing a great job. And I tried, so I had this idea too late. I tried to have some adoption opportunities set up out in the foyer, maybe like somebody holding a cat while I give a speech, but I had the idea too late, couldn't make it work. So maybe next year we can have some pets running around while we do that. But if you are interested in adoption services, again, there's a QR code there. The city's website has a section of the website that has the pets available at the shelter, so you can look and see if there's a dog or a cat that you want to adopt. And so I appreciate their hard work, doing a great job this year, really stepping up and providing the services to Blue Springs that we expect. So thank you guys for being here. And we've not only been caring for our domestic animals, but also our wild animal friends. We also established an exciting partnership with Wild Souls Wildlife Rescue and Rehabilitation. And so April Hoffman, the CEO of Wild Souls, is here. Stand up, April. I think you brought a board member, maybe. In the last year, they've taken hundreds of calls from Blue Springs residents, done an intake of hundreds of wild animals. With the contract we have with them, they prioritize Blue Springs calls and Blue Springs animals, which is really big in the summer. There's not a lot of animals running around right now, but it's really exciting to have them right here in the city limits of Blue Springs Wildlife Services. And so it's really done an example of the city council's commitment, the city's commitment to animals in our community. And speaking of Wild Souls and wild animals, I'm just going to tease an announcement here. I can't talk more about it, just to say in the next couple of weeks, there's going to be an announcement from the city that will involve wildlife. And the rest of us, that's all I can say. We're sworn to secrecy. It'll be an exciting thing. Yeah, can't say anything about it. The council's worried that I'm going to spill the beans. So that'll be exciting. Watch out for the next couple of weeks. It will be pretty cool. So also, the Blue Springs Police Department in this last year has been focused on recruitment and their outreach programs. We had the 43rd Citizens Police Academy that started this week. That program has been coming for 17 years. And so it's pretty awesome that continues to be a big draw for our community, big draw for the residents. I know I finally talked Grace into it. It took 43 classes. I finally talked her into it. Council member Tholen's in this one as well, and we'll get Councilmember Brummel in there eventually. So all the council members have been through it. If you've not been through that program, the police department does an awesome job of just showing you what they do on a day-to-day basis. And you will learn something. Doesn't matter if you're a former officer, doesn't matter how long you've been in the community, you will learn something about what they do. They also have the life sports. We had 120 participants in life sports over the summer. Benjamin was one of them. We also had 130 participants in Girls on Fire. So lots of exciting things. Councilmember Culpepper is always going to celebrate them. We got a short video here to tell what the police department's been involved in.
Hi, Bob Munz, Chief of Police, Blue Springs Police Department. I want to let you know that 2024 was a busy year for us again. We hired 14 new police officers, 9 new civilian employees, promoted 2 new captains, 2 new lieutenants, and 3 new sergeants, all to replace vacancies within the department. Our dispatch center handled just over 23,000 911 calls. Our officers responded to over 45,000 calls for service and wrote just over 8,300 police reports. One of the other big things for us this past year was the transition in animal control services. Captain Brotherton took the charge on that transition with the assistance of Captain Finera, Lieutenant Claxton, Sergeant Johnson, and a great group of brand new animal control officers ready to serve the community of Blue Springs. Our goal is to continue to provide quality animal control services to the community of Blue Springs. One of the other transitions was moving away from DARE to impact prevention education. In cooperation with the Blue Springs School District and the Lee Summit Police Department, IMPACT is an education prevention program that our officers are teaching in the schools to help our kids, give them the tools to deal with social pressures from bullying, internet, drugs, all the things that the kids in our community are facing as challenges today. We also continue to make use of technology to leverage our resources and increase our service. One of the things we're using is flock cameras to help deter and prevent and solve crimes. We've also partnered with the Flock Corporation on some new technology called Live 911, which places the Live 911 call directly into the patrol car for the officers to hear as it's coming into dispatch. Our hope is that we'll reduce our response times. That technology was made possible through a generous donation from the Blue Springs Citizens Police Academy Alumni Association. We continue to offer our popular outreach programs, Girls on Fire, Live Sports, National Night Out, Citizens Police Academies, and our Shop with a Blue Springs Cop. I like to say, live, work, or play in Blue Springs is always a great day.
You guys see Chief trying to ham it up there? I appreciate that, Chief. Thanks for putting some effort into it. Well, as the Chief outlined, a lot of exciting things happen. I know commitment to try to hire more officers, to recruit more has been something we've talked about for a long time. They've been doing a great job doing that. Using new technology has been something we've been trying to use for all of the things that have been responsive in the community. The council put a lot of effort to the flock cameras. They've been very useful, being responsive when crime happens. So we're hoping to have a few new things. There's even something called drone as first responder that they're looking into now. So in the future, it sounds like something from 2025 or 2050 or something. You may have a drone hovering over you, giving you advice on how to do CPR before any officer or EMT gets to you, because drones can sometimes get there first. So it sounds like science fiction, but we're working on some programs now that could happen in the near future, actually. Also, the changeover from DARE to IMPACT was big for our community. Same kind of stuff they're teaching the kids, just new and better ways, more relevant to what we've been doing. And so that was big for us as well. In the Parks Department, in May of last year, to much fanfare, we opened the Blue Surf Bay Water Park. Who's been to Blue Surf Bay so far? All right, got a few of you. So you know it's got splash pad, lazy river, lap pools, 5-story multi-slide tower, and of course the longest stand-up slide in the world right now. The opening of Blue Surf Bay was big for attendance. We had more than 244,000 visits to the complex last year. That's about 30,000 more than the year before. Day passes was about 7,000 day passes sold more than the year before. And membership increased about 30%. And so it was a big deal to open up Blue Surf Bay. Of course, also in May, we named the whole complex. So you got Blue Surf Bay Water Park, you got the Blue Springs Field House, but we named the whole complex the Carson Ross Community Recreation Complex after Mayor Ross. And so that is the CRCRC. That's how you hear us refer to it around here. But it's been big. I know we spent probably a couple days a week over the summer there. I've been down every water slide. I haven't done the surf simulator yet. Kent, have you done the surf simulator? No? Okay. So Kent usually does everything first, but we'll have to get on the surf simulator. The kids have done it and really enjoyed it. So it's been a big draw for the community. The only complaints I've heard about Blue Surf Bay is from people who aren't residents. And so we really prioritize, it was your tax dollars that paid for that, really prioritize residents benefiting from the new complex. And so it will be great. That'll open in, again, Memorial Day this year. And we've got a video showcasing Blue Surf Water Park.
Blue Surf Bay opened in May of 2024, and it was a great summer for us and continues to be a great year. Some of the amenities that we have here at Blue Surf Bay, on the outdoor side we have a surf simulator, a lazy river. We've got a zero depth entry pool for the little kids. Then over at our water slide tower complex, we've got 4 water slides. One of those slides being a stand-up water slide, which has been up to this point the longest stand-up slide in the world. Moving on to the indoor natatorium, it is open year-round and it features a warm water therapy pool, a hot tub, a sauna, an indoor water slide, a lap lane pool, and a spray ground that you can see here behind me. And then we also have a Ninja Cross course that lowers down from the ceiling. Just to give you a little idea about the scope of this project and what Blue Surf Bay became, we did use up 5,642 cubic yards of concrete, 19,374 tons of rock. All of our pools at Blue Surf Bay fill up 507,712 gallons of water. Blue Surf Bay has been a big success right off the bat. This summer, we sold out of our allotted 300 summer season passes. From Memorial Day to Labor Day, we sold over 18,500 day passes. We sold our max day passes on 64 out of 101 operating days. And we've seen a 40% increase in memberships at the Carson Ross Community Recreation Complex. We're always holding special events here at Blue Surf Bay, and we offer a swim lesson program all year round. If you weren't able to come join us in 2024, be sure you come check us out in 2025.
So I know I'm getting short on time. There's a lot of exciting things we happened in parks last year. In August, we started our first ever Green Up the Blue, our first ever community-wide cleanup event. We had about 300 volunteer hours that worked through the community. We had about 100 volunteers show up and work through the afternoon, cleaned up several truckloads of garbage in our parks, along our streets. We also recognized Purple Heart Day. We have been a Purple Heart City for a while, but just did an agreement with Missouri Department of Transportation to put signs throughout the city that recognize Blue Springs as a Purple Heart City. And consistent with our theme here in Blue Springs, I want to take a moment again. If you are a veteran, and you could stand so we could recognize your service today. I know there's at least a couple of you. Here in Blue Springs, we always have a deep respect and value the service of those that have done that for our country. We also had a brand new holiday tradition. Did anybody go to the North Pole Trail of Lights this year in December? Okay, a couple of you. That was a brand new thing. So the Parks Department looking for a few years on a way to have a winter event. And so they had already been looking at ways they could plan that. They had this new tree and said, hey, let's make that the mayor's Christmas tree. So 30-foot tree, it can get bigger over the years. We can buy bigger bases. So maybe in a couple of years might be, I don't know, a 50-foot tree or something. You never know. That was pretty exciting. And this, as soon as this is over, we're going to leave to go down to, some of us go down to Branson. They're having their Missouri Parks and Recreation Conference in Branson this week. They're snowed in with like 13 inches of snow. But Blue Springs is getting the Missouri Parks and Recreation Association Large Class 1 Agency of the Year. And so that's pretty exciting to recognize their efforts this year. Lots of exciting things happen in the Parks Department. I want to get to development because I know there's a lot there. Downtown has, again, been something we've received a lot of feedback from residents. And so the city council has put a lot of effort and a lot of focus in making sure the downtown master plan has been successful. We had a master plan passed in March of 2024. And watch this video. Michael go over some of those things.
The message about Blue Springs being an ideal place to live, raise a family, and start a business has been heard. With a thriving housing market, award-winning schools, and its appeal as a top choice for commuters, Blue Springs remains a sought-after destination. The Blue Springs economy continues to climb with over $1 billion in annual sales within city limits. This year, we added 181 new businesses, with more and more choosing Blue Springs to start their footprint in the Kansas City area. Housing growth in Blue Springs remains strong, with development continuing to expand southward. Our population topped 60,000 in 2024, and we added 236 new residential units to our city. And more major housing developments are on the way, with the residential construction in Ironwood, Houdahl Acres and Meadows, and Hudson Estates. This last year, the city undertook a substantial effort to research, plan, and develop a new strategy for our downtown district to ensure that the downtown is supported and connected. The result is our Downtown Master Plan that includes detailed strategies for implementation, all to be accomplished within 5 years and beyond.
The Downtown Master Plan, which was adopted in March of 2024, was an effort to build off the success of the 2006 Downtown Master Plan and refresh the goals and the strategies and the development patterns from that plan. This renewed Downtown Master Plan process really sought to engage a lot of different stakeholder groups, residents, businesses, Downtown Alive, the Historic Preservation Society, and also just residents from all over the city to engage and find out what they wanted to see over the next 5, 10, 20 years downtown. Within the Downtown Master Plan, there were 5 areas identified: the rail side area, the yard area, the core area, the Central Park area, and then the East Main Street area. And in May of 2024, the mayor appointed a Master Plan Implementation Task Force to look at recommendations and initial strategies for helping to implement the goals of that Downtown Master Plan. One of the key areas identified in that is the yard property, which is the city's former lumber yard. And in September, the city issued a request for proposals for development of that. Another recommendation was to hire a design consultant for streetscape improvements, and the city recently hired a consultant in January to do that, and also to look at some creative options for reuse of Central Park. The city purchased the former First Baptist Church property at the corner of 15th and Main in early January of 2025. It has the ability to provide a catalyst for development in downtown and really be a game changer, not only to be kind of the west end bookend of downtown, but also bridge the gap between downtown and the school district properties over on Vesper, the new high school campus and the new Career Innovation Center. And this property sits right in the middle of the two and has a lot of development potential. And we are really looking forward to what kind of opportunities it presents.
Some exciting stuff happening downtown. So I don't want to rehash everything Mike said, but the task force did their work over the summer. They made recommendations to the council. We took action on those immediately. So next month, we expect to have a presentation as a result of the RFPs for a mixed-use development project there for the yard. Already working with some consultants for streetscapes. So that could literally reshape how downtown looks and provide a lot more opportunity for growth and development on Main Street. And then Central Park, we've already been talking about some ways to make it a bigger draw, somewhere for people to hang out in the downtown district, path around the ponds, shelter, some equipment, something for people to do when they're downtown, a place for them to go that allows more draw to that area. So, and I know Mike mentioned in the video as well, I know a lot of attention was to the announcement that we purchased the old First Baptist property. We're not going to tear it down and make it a parking lot, as you might hear some people say on social media, but it's a big property, and so there's ideas in the master plan of what that can look like. It's going to take us a little while to actually have a formal plan that we can move forward with. It'll take us a while to come up with the money to move forward with any plan for that space. So it's a strategic place that, again, will just reshape what downtown Blue Springs looks like. And so that's why we thought it was important to take that step. I'm going to thank Pastor Randall and the people at First Baptist that helped work through that with us. First Baptist has had a lot of contributions to the Blue Springs community over the years, and I know that won't end now, but especially to downtown. They've been a large part of downtown Blue Springs for a long time, so I want to honor their contribution while I have the chance. Beyond downtown, we also had an RFP for property on Allen's Parkway. Again, next month, we expect to have a presentation before the council on mixed-use project for that property. And so I also want to highlight a number that was in the video. We have over $1 billion of annual sales that happens in the city limits of Blue Springs. So when you're just talking about economic impact, that is happening if you just extrapolate your sales tax dollars. There's $1 billion in sales happening in retail, at restaurants throughout the city. I think that's a pretty big deal. It also, we have issued last year more than 1,200 building permits and more than 180 new business licenses. So that's not renewed, that's brand new businesses that opened in Blue Springs last year, more than 180 of those. There are currently 16 housing developments currently under construction and 5 more that have been approved that just haven't started construction yet. So I think the message about Blue Springs being the draw for families, for the community, is really getting out there. We hired a new economic development manager in October. Had a lot of conversation over the years about being more proactive, not just letting people find us. And so he's doing just that, selling Blue Springs to the type of restaurants and retail that we've heard from residents that you want in the community. And so we're being very active in that. As we turn to 2025, I just want to say there'll be a lot more exciting things. You can expect more. It's something the politicians never say, but you can expect more of the same because we've been doing lots of good stuff. You can expect more of these type of exciting things happen into the next year. A lot of positive change, a lot of innovation. You've already seen things like Brookside Barkery and Bath. Dutch Brothers should be developing soon. McAllister's Deli. Tim Hortons is coming in 2 locations in Blue Springs, which is their first in the Kansas City region. Small Sliders is their first in the Kansas City region. Swig has already opened, has been busy all the time. Downtown, you saw Read and Rooted do a reopening, and I was in there last week. They're doing a great job. It looks really nice. Mega's Yoga Tribe, it's their 3rd location in the region. They now have a location downtown. Lots of exciting things happening and lots more to expected for next year. The final thing I want to do before we do anything else is thank the staff that really the ones that make us look good. If you are a staff person for the City of Blue Springs, could you please stand so we can recognize you and thank you for all your work. Stand up. Let's give you a round of applause. So I know it's going to embarrass her, but I want to specifically recognize Christine, our city administrator. That was an audible sigh. So Christine has been with the city a long time, and we have put her through a lot in that time frame, especially in the last few years. She not only has to keep all of us in line, she is really, I know there's different versions of this in the cities, but she is the CEO of Blue Springs. She is the one that does the day-to-day, that hires staff, that makes sure they're on track. Anything positive that happens. I was with the Boy Scout troop this week, and I was like, hey, local government is great. You call us on Monday morning, we can have a pothole filled, Monday afternoon. And he's like, do you fill the potholes? I was like, nope, I don't do it. It's because we have great staff that we can tell them to go fill the pothole and they'll get it done. If we had terrible staff, it might be by Friday before it gets filled. So we have staff that is amazing, that does hard work. And so I really want to thank them. I appreciate you taking the time to be with me here today. Thank you for letting me have your afternoon. And appreciate you working together for the future of Blue Springs. The last thing I'm going to do is we are starting a strategic planning process. You will see on your table here, this is probably the most extensive strategic planning process we've done, at least in my time on the council. We have a group working with us. It will be very similar to the downtown master plan. You as residents will have the opportunity. There's a social pinpoint map. You can literally go on the map and tell us, hey, I'd like this get built here, or I'd like this kind of development here. And you can help us shape the future of Blue Springs for the next 10 years. That's a process we'll be going through for the next several months. They will be reaching out to homeowners associations, to business owners, lots of stakeholders to get as much feedback from the residents of Blue Springs as we can to make Blue Springs successful. So thank you for your time this afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your day.